know, the Church of England, along with other churches, has had a shameful record of safeguarding failures. Many children and vulnerable adults have experienced abuse in church contexts and often at the hands of clergy. What is worse, and even more shameful, is the way this has been covered up by church leaders, particularly the cover-up of the sexual abuse by a bishop in which the establishment, including an archbishop, bishops and a member of the royal family, closed ranks, and this led to the suicide of one of the survivors. In that case, the reputation of the church was put before the needs of the survivors for truth and justice, and that reputation is now in shreds. So what is going on in the church now to ensure that it is a safe place for children and vulnerable adults? I think many of you will know that those in positions of responsibility, such as PCC members and many others, now undergo police and criminal record checks and have to take part in safeguarding training. But more than that, it's the culture of churches that needs to change. To change so that safeguarding becomes the concern of every church member, everyone who attends church, each one of us. And that means everyone being aware that abuse can happen and that we cannot pretend that it doesn't because we don't like to think about it. And then, when we have an open culture where such things can be talked about, we can ensure that sexual predators are not allowed to prey on the vulnerable. I believe that the church, instead of being a pariah amongst organisations for its poor safeguarding practices, can be a beacon of good practice in the voluntary sector. And for this to happen, everyone needs to be on board with the importance of it. The Church of England safeguarding training is excellent and informative. And as well as church officers, it may be that it is open to any church member to undertake. And I will find out and let you know. It does actually ask you to say what your role in the church is when you log on to it. And we're such a small church that almost everybody has a role. Anyway, I will let you know more about that, but they were on holiday this week, so I couldn't find out. Every church has a safeguarding officer. Ours is Helen Wells, who's usually with us. I think she's not with us on Zoom today. But Helen is our safeguarding officer. The diocese has safeguarding advisors as well. Any disclosures of abuse will be listened to in a compassionate way and appropriate action taken. And allegations of historic abuse will still be investigated. So that's us. What about the bishops? Well, finally, it seems, and not before time, in my opinion, the church will be handing over its safeguarding work to an independent agency. So no longer will bishops be responsible for investigating allegations of abuse, which could, after all, be about bishops. The most important outcomes of all this would be that churches are safe places for children and vulnerable adults, and that survivors of historic abuse are heard and justice is done. However, we should not be unconcerned about reputation. Public trust in the clergy has slumped, especially in the past year. Only 54% of the public now trust the clergy to tell the truth. That's the findings of an Ipsos poll recently. Now, it will take a generation, at least in my opinion, for this trust to be restored. And so, especially now, lay people, ordinary church members, have a crucial role here to restore trust and credibility, as it is lay members, ordinary church members, who are still trusted as much as the average person. I make no apology for speaking about this subject today, because it is something that needs to be spoken about on a regular, if not too frequent, basis in the church. Please do take in what I've said, take this to heart, so that we can all play our part. In today's gospel, the Magi brought their gifts to the Christ child. Our gift to the Christ child and to children today is to play our part in safeguarding. Thank you for listening.